Hi guys, Steph here, and I am going to take you through a 10-minute tennis ball massage. Okay, so if you can just find a couple of tennis balls or steal them from your dog maybe, or go get some new ones or whatever is easiest for you. If you have any other that are a little softer, some people like to use lacrosse balls. Those are a little bit more intense. For the purposes of this, we're going to start with the tennis balls. Now, what I'm going to take you through and show you, you are able to do longer if you want to and stay in a certain body part a little bit longer, or revisit parts and pieces of this. And the one thing that I would say is that we can start with our feet. So if you want to start standing, and then you'll just allow yourself just kind of roll through the feet. And it's really important to remember as you're doing this to just breathe. Big inhales and complete exhales. And it's a little easier if you have a yoga mat underneath you or a carpet. If you work on just the hard surface floor, that you won't be able to get that rolling. And you can even kind of stand on and let yourself roll. And the newer the tennis ball, the firmer it's going to be. And you're just kind of looking to release the soft tissue and then fascia. So that's a little bit hard to actually make structural changes to fascia, but if we move our body, it does help it become a little bit more pliable and less stuck. And so you can just take a second in between each side and just notice how you're feeling and see if there's a little bit of relief, and then switch sides. And as you're doing this here with me for about 10 minutes, it may not be enough time for you if you find something kind of interesting on your journey with the tennis balls here. So what I recommend is the feeling you're going for is clear and satisfying. So it's not painful, it's not necessarily comfortable, but it's a clear feeling. You can breathe and you may get some really nice relief, and you can just allow yourself to roll. All right, and so now we're going to go ahead and come down to the ground. And like I said, you can just use this video as you would like to, and pause it and take more time on each section and then restart. So I like to move on to the hips. And the hips can be really intense. Now, the way that I start with the hips is I come onto the sits bones first, which sounds worse than it is, but it's really not that bad. And so from your sits bones, just allow yourself to kind of roll, and then eventually just go ahead and pick one side or the other, right or the left, and then roll onto your hips. Keep a hold of that other tennis ball, and then you're going to use gravity and your breath just to allow you to kind of drop down into this. And if you are able to tolerate it, you can lay all the way down and then you can roll. And when you're doing this on your hips, you want to think about just little lines of passage as you're rolling. So I will show you, keep rolling. So on your hips, you want to think about just coming back. That would be one line, and then two, and then three, and then four. And you can kind of really spend some time on the side. Circular motions or straight lines, completely kind of up to you. Just remember that little baseline of clear and satisfying. And the more gravity you put down, the more that kind of passive release will happen. And you may get some interesting information. And you might just find some spaces where you're going to discover you didn't know you had so much tension. If you do find that you're having some pain or something really unexpected, definitely make sure that you get that checked out if it doesn't go away. And just breathe into it and roll, and you can stay. And you can work into the lower back. And again, if you want to just take a second and pause and then keep working on one side, and then you can do the other side. So there's not really a recommended, amount of time that you should or shouldn't do the tennis ball massage. I would go with how it feels. If you not to say that this will happen, but if you do too much of it and you have some bruising, obviously stop until you don't have any bruising. That shouldn't happen, but if you tend to bruise easily, it may. And just allow yourself that same rolling. And you can relax into it. You can hold in one place or just make little circles. And every time you get the tennis balls out, you might find something different that you want to work through. And again, so if you want to take a second and just hit pause, or you want to keep going, the pace of this video in particular is good for you to either pause and do longer, or it's a good sort of prep for pre-yoga, pre-bar, or post-yoga, post-bar, or running, whatever you're doing, even weightlifting. And something else to focus on with the legs is just allowing yourself just little circular rolls here. And if you have shin splints, because I know a lot of students have shin splints when they are, working out and whatnot. I hear that a lot. So this is a good way to kind of address that. So you're just working on the muscle around the bone, along the shin. And then of course, you're going to want to pay attention to the back of the leg here with your gastrocnemius and the soleus. The soleus is deeper, so it's harder to get to, but that can be the cause of a lot of tension. I like to use a yoga block, but if you're at home, you can use a book or anything and create that sort of space for rolling. Now, the more that you allow yourself to relax into whatever part of the body is being released, the better. So right now, I'm very passive through the leg and letting my core and my arms kind of hold me up here so that I can create a good amount of pressure. You can give it a little gentle roll behind the knee. If that's painful, skip it. Don't spend a whole lot of time there. And again, the same thing as you would do. You can come on up, find those hamstrings. And if you have a lot of tension or a lot of soreness, then, take it slow, breathe. Feel free to hold, and you can put music on in the background and take this, slowly, or keep those circles going, up to you. And just make sure you pause and take a breath. You can even kind of linger and hold if that feels good. And again, if you want to pause, keep working on that leg, you can, and then we'll work through the quadriceps. Now, if you've had a really tough leg day, what I'm doing might not be what you want to be doing, especially if you did a lot of weights on your quadriceps. So, or even just bar, if you really had a lot of thigh work that you did, then you might not want to do this, or you might just take it a little slower. And again, just quadriceps, think 4, so try to take it 4 lines, and you can roll it. Now, if you want to make it more intense, then we're going to do that same thing here with the block, and you can literally use the block as you lay down and then roll, okay? And then see what you can find. Breathe. And again, go ahead and pause this if you'd like to, or we'll go ahead and switch sides just to make this brief so we can move on to some good stuff here. So working again towards the inside and the outside of the shins. And then another thing to think about too is as you're coming down is just to roll through the tops of the feet. So you may even find some interesting feelings through the tops of your feet, like towards the toes, outside. Just pause, working through the quadriceps. It's really not a huge deal on what order you want to go with. If you have a lot of time and you can do the full body, then start with feet, ankles, and then work up respectively. But if you are just sitting on your mat and wanting to do something to just make yourself feel a little bit more tuned up pre or post workout, this is a really good pre sort of work to do before like a yoga class, because especially if you get to your class a little early or you're about to practice at home. And great way to notice if an injury is still acting up. So you might want to adjust how hard you're pushing yourself. And is this going to heal an injury? Most likely not. If you do have something that you've done, it will relieve some pain, and you'll need to take the proper care, whether that's going to see your physical therapist or working out something with a personal trainer on what you can be working on, or if it's really serious, then go get it checked out. This can be sort of a way to get to know your body better and what is or isn't working properly. So again, if you want to pause, you can. I'm going to go through a couple of my other favorites, and you might find that your chest is incredibly tight. So little circles right underneath that collarbone, all the way over to the shoulders. And then you can take a little bit deeper rolls. Breathe, and then allow yourself to switch sides. And then here, right through here. And allowing yourself just to make the decision. If that's enough for you, then just to hold from here. You can also do your chest with a yoga block and the tennis ball. So if you want to come down and then allow yourself to use your core strength and your gravity, it looks really funny, I understand, but just right when you get into it, you might be like, okay, yep, I'm tightening my chest. And breathe. Breathe down into it. And then move maybe a little deeper. So often all of our time spent sort of forward and whatnot, really closing off the chest. A lot of what's happening back through here, through the back body, has to do with that tightness through the chest and easing of the breath. And another thing to think about releasing is just up into the rib cage. And kind of more of the release of that soft tissue, tension, and releasing of the fascia. So fascia is just what encases all of the fibers, or it's this fibrous tissue that encases all of the soft tissue in your body. And then we're going to go to the beloved, the best, the back. So you can start and just roll. And roll all the way down. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks to get into the neck. And this is a place where you might want to pause. I can recommend that you just turn on like an hour-long show, and you can really just work through your whole back and give yourself a little bit of a treat here. So just rolling, rolling, rolling. And one thing that's super helpful, and all right, we're at our 10-minute mark, but I'll hurry and go through these things so that you know. But a couple of things that are super helpful is just to start down and allow yourself even these movements here just to find where the tension is in your shoulder. So you can do little movements like this. You can even open and close and pull in, then reach, and then keep rolling. Now, couple of other places really quickly that will also take a little bit more time, and you'll need to be patient with yourself. The lower back can be a little harder to get to. So one of the things that I find helpful is to just take your legs up and then try from here to just allow a little bit of movement, or to come towards a bit of a bridge pose and move from side to side here. Now, depending on how your back is feeling, the quadricep, or excuse me, the QL right around here can be really kind of hard to reach. So again, our block can help, and you'll just come up a little higher and work with gravity and your body and come up and maybe just focus on one side. Don't be afraid to use whatever is around. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use furniture. You can just set your feet up on the edge of a couch or a chair, and you can allow yourself just kind of to find that spot just with movement. And then you may have to lift up the ball and then even turn a little deeper towards the side to release. It's kind of hard to release through here, but it can be done. Now, one of the really awesome parts is you can do this from your desk at work or Zooming, whatever it is that you're sitting in front of, and release that tension through the forearms and breathe. You can do the palms and the big fascia right here, and then all of that tension just from typing and repetitive motion. And then lastly, you can take the tennis ball behind your head. So we're working right here at the base, right before you get down towards your neck, right here. It's called the occipital lobe. And so you're just going to let yourself come from side to side. So if you have tension headaches or have a lot of stress and it kind of shows up in your upper back, this will help. Will it fix it? No. Will it help? Yes. So another thing you can do is you can even use a yoga block and take the yoga block on its edge and hold it towards an angle, towards the side. And then just let yourself kind of come from side to side. Again, what are you looking for? Is a clear and satisfying sensation, right? The other option is to use the tennis balls, one or even both. And you can just kind of let yourself roll, breathe, and then switch sides. And see what you can find. So that is what I have for you for a tennis ball massage. This is by no means a comprehensive full class. This is to empower you to press pause, work a little longer on your specific needs and body parts that are feeling tense, and you're free to always look up more information if this kind of sparks your curiosity on ways that you can release and different sort of trigger point massage and how that helps with your yoga practice and just exercise in general. And then make sure you pause for a couple rounds of breath and just notice how you feel. And I hope this helps and empowers you to feel connected to your body and to unwind tension and stress. Thank you.